Welcome to Newsletter Guru TV, your show with a boatload of smart marketing and business building advice, and a little fun along the way.
This episode of Newsletter Guru TV is brought to you by Jim Palmer's Dream Business Academy, Annapolis. This truly one-of-a-kind live event takes place October 7th through the 9th in beautiful Annapolis, Maryland, and you'll learn exactly how to market and grow a more profitable business faster. Jim and his dream team of speakers will share some of their best marketing and business building advice, all in a pitch-free zone. And don't miss two of Jim's rock star entrepreneur friends, Melanie Benson-Strick and best-selling author Bob Berg. Dream Business Academy Annapolis will quite literally transform your business. Do not miss it. Get all the details and register today at www.dreambizacademy.com. That's www.dreambizacademy.com.
Hey everybody, it's Jim Palmer, the Newsletter Guru and your Dream Business Coach. As always, I'm committed to helping you build a more profitable business faster. It is just about the end of summer, and no, I'm not on my boat. I'm actually in my office for a very important reason. I'm going to be interviewing a good friend of mine, just a super smart entrepreneur, Diane Gardner, and let me tell you a little bit about Diane, and then we'll bring her on. Now, Diane lives in Idaho, and I'm in Pennsylvania. That's why we're not sitting together with my selfie stick. So we're doing this via live remote. So here's the professional introduction of my guest. Diane Gardner is an expert tax coach. She is a Quilly Award recipient and best-selling author whose proactive planning approach gives clients a leg up on Uncle Sam and helps them dodge that nasty tax bullet. She created the nationwide Get Off the Wheel virtual mastermind and coaching program for accountants, one of its only kind in the accounting world. We're going to talk about that. And that focuses on done-for-you practice management solutions utilizing systems and procedures. Diane is a firm believer in the importance of utilizing systems and procedures in every accounting office to ensure maximum efficiency and productivity as a means to increase bottom line profits, reduce hours worked, and to reduce stress. Her done-for-you practice management system has received praise from accountants across America. As a licensed enrolled agent, Diane prepares tax returns and helps taxpayers nationwide maximize profits and tax savings. She is a certified Profit First professional QuickBooks Pro advisor and accredited tax preparer, and has elite certification as a certified tax coach. Diane is also the co-author of the best-selling books, Stand Apart, What My CPA Didn't Tell. Why my CPA Didn't Tell Me That. She's also authored 3 other books, including the newest one, Stop Overpaying Your Taxes, 11 Ways Entrepreneurs Overpay, and How to Stop It Now. Diane, welcome to my show. Sorry for messing up the title of your book. That was quite a huge introduction.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So this is a little unique. I'm usually just so unscripted shooting these videos, but I really wanted to bring you on and introduce you to the Newsletter Guru TV audience, which on average is about 12 to 1,500 people a week, mostly entrepreneurs and small business owners. In full disclosure, Diane and I, as I said, are friends. She's a member of my Dream Business Coaching Program, but she has done something that so many people have not been able to do. First of all, she runs a very nice, profitable practice in Idaho. She has, I would consider, and I think she would too, a dream business lifestyle. So she runs her business on her terms, likes to spend lots of time with her daughter and husband and her grandchild. And, she just runs a really high quality operation, and now it's so much so through all her books and things like that, she's getting recognized as quite a leader in the accountant space. And one of the things that I wanted to bring her on for is two things. Diane, you know me, I'm always just going off the top of my head, so I'm gonna ask you 2 things. First of all, when I was preparing for the interview, and you and I talked a couple of weeks ago about coming on Newsletter Guru TV, I said there's 2 things I want to get you on for: tax planning, which every entrepreneur and small business owner needs, and also this really very cool thing I know you've been working on for years. You got these manuals, these systems and procedures manuals. So I'm trying to think of how I could fit all that in. So what I'm going to ask you right here in front of everybody is, can you come back next week and I'll interview you again I want to do one now and one later so I can do justice to them both.
Oh, you bet, Jim. I'd be honored to do that.
Okay, so what I think we ought to do now is talk about some of the tax planning, because even though it's the fall, I know, because when tax time comes around, accountants go crazy. You're busy. You're working 6 or 7 days a week, and you've got demands from last minute folks, and But in reality, there are things that you can do like right now, the way you should be setting up your books and things like that. So first of all, I'm sure there's a few people who haven't heard the term tax coach, Diane. So what is a tax coach, and why does an entrepreneur need one?
Well, Jim, a tax coach is a relatively new term, and it's similar to a business coach or a life coach or a sports coach, in that tax coach is going to come along beside you, not behind you, and they're going to take a look at how you're keeping your records, making sure you've got the right business entity type, looking that you're not missing any of those valuable deductions and credits that you should be taking, and push you to be able to implement what needs to be done and to get it all done before the end of the year, because come December 31st, the clock stops ticking and it becomes history. And then during tax time, all we can do is just record what happened. We have no ability to fix last year. We can only fix the current year. So fall is a wonderful time for tax planning.
Which is why I'm having you on now. So I know one of the things I talk to when I'm coaching people in my program is, and I just my disclaimers, I'm not an accountant, but I ask them what kind of business entity they're set up as, because so many people are not set up correctly, and not only for protection, but they're paying a lot more money in taxes than they need to. Can you talk briefly about the different types of business entities and why one is better than another?
You bet. The different types of entities are, most people usually start out as a sole proprietorship, which means that they've done nothing. They've opened their door, said, hey, I'm in business, and whammo, here they go. Then they might want to look at an LLC, which is a limited liability company. You have S Corps and C Corps, partnerships. So lots of different entities, and they all have different tax ramifications as well as legal ramifications. Some of them offer some limited liability protection. Others don't. Others are easy to start and stop. Others require more record keeping and some of that kind of stuff. So it's always important to make sure that you have the entity that fits your business today and that will grow with you and fit your business tomorrow too.
I know a lot of people, when I was getting started 14 or 15 years ago, LLC, it just seemed to be the buzzword. I don't know if you asked me, it was like everybody, oh, I got to have an LLC. And an LLC, what I have learned, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that does give you some of the corporate protection, right? But it's still a pass-through as far as your revenue. It's still considered income, where an S Corp, you get a paycheck and there can be distributions and things like that. Am I close?
You're close, yes. In fact, I love LLCs because they're such a flexible entity type to work with. If I've got a business owner who's an LLC, they might be a single member LLC, they could be a multi-member LLC, and depending on their ownership number of people, shows me what different directions that we can go planning-wise. If they're a single-member LLC, we might want to look at having them be taxed as an S-Corp so we can put them on payroll and reduce those payroll estimated payments that they're having to make and go ahead and pay them out, some of them out through payroll deposits and stuff, so they're not such a large amount of money 4 times a year. If they're a multi-member LLC, then they're probably being taxed as a general partnership. And that means that 100% of that income is subject to self-employment tax, which is a major ouch. Wow. So because they're an LLC, we might want to restructure them again as an S Corp or a C Corp for tax purposes, but they're still an LLC for all the other purposes. And from what I've been told by many attorneys, is an LLC actually offers more protection for liability purposes than your corporations do. So I love that entity in the states where they're LLC-friendly states.
And not every state has the same kind of corporate tax laws, right?
Right, yeah, they're all different. So you need to know what your state allows. If you're, a good example, if you're in the state of California, they have a gross revenues tax for their LLC. So there's very, very few LLCs in the state of California. It's just too costly.
Wow. So Diane, we're quickly running out of time on this show. I want to ask you about the whole healthcare system. Healthcare is such a huge cost to a lot of businesses. So, one thing I know some people do where they have an entrepreneur and maybe the spouse works outside the home, they want to know, should I be covering the health care from my business? So is it a legitimate expense to the business, therefore reducing the profits and therefore reducing the taxes? Or how does that work?
Oh, Jim, that's one of my favorite ones. If we can make it all qualify with your spouse, or even sometimes without a spouse, depending on your entity type, it's a great way to write off that health insurance that you're all paying now that's considerably higher than it was a couple years ago. It can also cover all of your out-of-pocket medical costs, and it becomes a legitimate write-off through your business if it's structured right, and it's by using a Section 105 plan or medical reimbursement plan that we can help people set up, and it's an awesome write-off, and I just love it when I can make that one work.
That's cool. So last question I want to ask you today. What are some of the most often missed tax deductions that entrepreneurs just completely ignore, forget about, or are unaware of?
Probably the most often missed deduction is their mileage or writing off their vehicle, depending on which one gives them the better write-off. I have so many people tell me it's just too big of a hassle to keep track of their mileage, so they don't do it and they miss that deduction. But from what I've seen, that deduction usually runs at least $2,000 to about $15,000 a year.
Oh, wow.
So it's one you don't want to take lightly.
Yeah. So the mileage, and I must admit, my accountant told me to do that. It is a big pain in the rear to try and track all that. So the mileage, that can really add up. What's one more?
Another one I would think probably next biggest one is just failing to plan. They don't realize that they can plan their way to a lower tax bill, and so they just do nothing. But if they'll at least get some help, get started on some planning, we can dramatically decrease that income tax bill for the next year.
One of the things I know, when you and I first met, probably, 3 or 4 years ago, I think, and we've been working together the last couple of years, Diane, I don't think of you as just an accountant, because I know people that you've worked with, including my daughter now works with you with her business, and I know you have this ability to look at not only really smart bookkeeping from an accountant standpoint, but you look at the big picture and say, well, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. I think we could write off this, you should structure it this way. Like, that's really what a tax coach does, right? I mean, she was actually sharing some of the things you're doing. It's really impressive what you do, and that's quite unique, I think, from at least the accountants that I'm familiar with.
It's very unique, and it comes from that elite certification of being a certified tax coach. We spend a lot of our time learning how to take that bigger view and not just get bogged down in the actual paperwork that has to be done, but take that overall view and look at it more from a planning perspective. And it's very rewarding to do it that way.
Diane, we have people that watch this show every week from all over the country, multiple countries, which I'm sure that's probably hard for you. But if somebody wants to talk to you and possibly even and get some questions answered, or figure out if you could work with them, are you able to work across multiple state lines, and how should they contact you?
You bet, Jim. I'm nationwide. As a tester, I work with your daughter up in Rhode Island. Mm-hmm. I've got clients in Pennsylvania, all the way over to Hawaii. So we are definitely nationwide. And best way to contact me is go out to www.taxcoachforyou.com. And you can contact me from there.
That is awesome. And folks, Diane gets my highest recommendation. She is just a wonderful person, straight as an arrow, and just, high integrity, which I appreciate. Diane, thank you for this. This went by really quickly. I want to get you back next week. I want to talk about your systems and procedures, because I'm a big fan of getting things streamlined and helping people out. So you come back next week, and we'll do this again.
All right. Thanks for having me, Jim.
You're welcome. Hey, folks, that wraps up this very special, a little bit extended edition of Newsletter Guru TV. Come back next week. Until then, you do something nice for somebody. I'm all out of sequence because I'm not holding my selfie stick, right? So I want you to do something nice for somebody today. One random act of kindness at a time. Everybody does it. One a day. It's going to make the world a much nicer place. Now I'm in my rhythm. And be sure to check out Stick Like Glue Radio, the only podcast dedicated to helping you create an everlasting bond with your customers so they stay longer, spend more, and refer more. And be sure to get your seat. I think we're down to about 20 seats left for the next Dream Business Academy, dreambizacademy.com. That is it. My name's Jim Palmer. I'm a Dream Business Coach because I'm committed to helping you build a more profitable business faster. Until next week, You take good care.